Alright guys, welcome back to another video and to another lighting project. So what we've done is we've removed the little light bars that we had right here. They're just that big, like 6 inches or something like that. They were kind of getting lost in the other lights when you turned them all on. Instead, CoLight, if you've ever heard of these guys, they reached out and wanted to do a little light sponsorship for me. And see if I wanted to try out some of their lights. And, you know, I already have all the different size lighting that I necessarily need, except I still wanted something for the bumper. So, this is what we settled on. Might seem a little extravagant, but it is what it is. But, look at these monsters. So this is what we settled on. So what we're going to do, see if we can get that to one here on the other side. Just like that. So that's the look. Along with all the additional lighting that we have, we should have more than enough down here on the grill that these will no longer be necessary. Peel this off real quick. You can actually set them up so that the whole light goes on, obviously. There's also a switch just for these ones, which are more of a flood pattern. You can see right here. These are more of a spot. So these will be kind of nice. I'll actually have to run 2 switches, I think, to really get the most out of these. 3, really. And then you have DRLs right here, which will be nice, and they match. I checked them already. They match exactly. The DRLs I already have, so that'll be a good look. What we do have is our hardware right there, and then there's a pigtail for each light. And these are the 2 DRL lights that you can choose from. The yellow is an orange, and the white is more of a white. I use the orange currently, so I will be using the yellow. We pulled the grill back off. It was easy. It was already loose from another project. I've already run the main switch because this is actually going to get cut off and tied into our aux beam switch panel because we're going to have to use multiple switches in there to be able to get all the features out of those lights. We're going to tie these directly into the main battery, and it's the only thing that we have tied into the main battery. I try not to do any more than I have to into this guy, just because it's the smart thing to do. And then what we'll do is I have to take these wires, I'll have to fish them through, get one to the first position here, get one over to that position over there. So we ran this one along here, and then we came down, we got a little bit sticking out here so we can disconnect. And then the other one we brought in back here behind the radiator, if you can see it. And then it's coming over here. We'll fish it down and we'll figure out what to do with that slack. Figure out where we're going to stuff that. Alright, so we've got everything secured. Not rubbing on things. There's the one light there, the one light there. They have pretty large pigtails, so we'll end up seeing how we're going to tuck it in behind the grill, but that's what we're going to do right now is get the grill together, figure out those pigtails, and then we can connect our adapters, the ones that were in the middle here, for our DRLs, because I don't think these are gonna reach from that light to here. Yeah, I'm not even gonna be close. But I think what I could do, yeah, matter of fact, that's what I could do, is I can run these, connect it to this one, all one connection, and then just get one wire up there. Like splice it right here, I think. Shouldn't be an issue. Best thing to do is going to be to test that. All right. This will be a pretty easy fix if it works. Just make sure that works. Guess we can put both in there. And then we have our switch, which ought to control these at some point, maybe. That's all it was. I'm just mad about those connections. Okay. So those lights are on. Turn those off. Off. Okay. So there's our DRLs. So it does work like that, so we'll just piggyback those across. Turn them off in here. Took care of that. Perfect. Okay, so that's the plan. All right, so I think we've got everything run far enough. I've got some Gorilla Tape on some of this stuff where I think it might actually rub on things where the bare wires are. So I think what we need to do is get the grill back on, I guess. Figure out how to do these connections. I don't want to connect, the lights up. I want to do it outside the grill and then shove it back in the best I can, because I need to be able to pull these out to disconnect if I ever have to take the grill back off. But we'll see. I don't know. That may not be the best option. So right now, we're just going to get this grill started. See where we're at. There's probably enough room that I can make these connections inside here and be able to pull this back if I ever have to reconnect the lights. But I also need to make sure that I can get the grill back off without removing the lights, and I don't think that's going to be the case. So I think what we're going to do, let's go with my original plan, and just fit there. I think that's what we'll do. Let's do that right there. The same thing over here. Hopefully that works. Okay, seems to be okay. Question is, yeah, I think we'll be able to shove it all back in there. Make sure these still work. Turn our DRLs on. Nope. DRL still work. Full lights work. Center lights work. Now we just need to figure out where to mount these. I want to put them, I think, as far over as possible. Probably right exactly there. Mark there, put a mark there. We know it's right in the corner. If you can see that, you probably can't. So what we'll have to do, disassemble this light and just get the bracket mounted. I think we'll do it right here. I was going to do it over there, but it was like, but just my luck, I'll drop the bolts and they'll fall down in the engine compartment. So we'll just use our handy dandy little tool here. There's our bracket. Alright, so our bracket's going to go here. Here's our lines. We're going to give ourselves a little bit of room here, I think, to be able to swivel it just a bit. I think we're only going to do the one hole, the one bolt, so that I have the ability to do this. Then maybe later down the road, once I know they're exactly where I want them, I'll just put a locking bolt in there so they can't move. Maybe. Never know. To hit anything underneath there. Okay. Let's figure out what size our nuts and bolts are. Ooh, biggins. Wow, look at that monster. Okay. There we go. Perfect. Go like that. Right in there. Okay, that's good news. Ooh. All right. We can always put a little bit more on that. Leave it just enough to adjust it. Let me just do the other side and we'll come back when that's done. So right now we'll connect these. We'll stuff them inside here. We'll figure out the best way to hide that slack. But nothing a couple zip ties can't take care of. All right, let's double check them again. Okay. So our centers, there's the full beam. Okay, they work. All right, guys, that's probably going to do it for the install side of the house. What we'll do is we'll wait till it gets dark tonight. We'll go up, we'll get some footage so we can see it in the dark, see how well they work. We'll try them through all their phases, and then I'll give you all the stats, you know, what their lumens and things like that are. But I feel like it would be better to tell you about the lumens when I can show you the lumens at the same time. So we'll stop here for now. I'll just button up the wiring, and we'll see you tonight. All right, guys, so here we are. I took a little bit of drive here. I want to come out and see what these lights will do. We'll do the bright lights first. We'll go through both modes. Actually, 3 modes with the DRLs. Let's get ready for that. I'm going to move forward here a little bit out of the way where we can actually test these out a little better, and we will get started with this. All right, let's start here with the DRLs on. It's going to turn on all of them because I put all of them on the same circuit, rather than try to mess with multiples, but might be a little bright. It is. Those new headlights are kind of brutal. Okay. Anyway, that's that. And then from here, we will go ahead and we will turn on the bumper. And now these are just the floods. They're the center beams. I guess we can get back out and look at those. Which are doing a pretty good job. I mean, those are going way out there. And see, so those are just the center beams. Yeah, it's gonna be so hard. Maybe better like that. Turn those off, turn on the full light. And so now, full light, way out there. So those are looking quite good. Just the floods, the driving floods. All right. Then turn that off again. Got the big guys back on again. Happy camper, can't complain. Turn that bumper one back on again, yeah. Still good. But we'll go ahead and in this video here, you know, hopefully you guys liked it. I'm really liking these lights, so I'll put some links in the description. And if it's something you want to check out, please do. Please use the links. It really helps the channel. And, you know, we'll catch you guys on the next video.